Hello and welcome. I'm DDF Racer, and it's that time of year again where RaceRoom gets its big December update. Last year we saw the introduction of the new ranking system, damage and suspension model, physics updates, time progression, and a whole stack of new cars and tracks too. Fast forward 12 months and here we are. Time for another big update, but what exactly is new this time around? Actually, let me start off by saying something very quickly. I like RaceRoom a lot. You've probably already realized that it is one of my favorite sims, so of course I'm going to be a little bit biased when it gets some shiny new content and features. If you're not familiar with this channel and you too are a fan of RaceRoom, then maybe consider subscribing. You know, that big red button somewhere on the screen right now. Because I upload a lot of RaceRoom videos and do a lot of RaceRoom live streams as well. Back on topic, TDF. December update. No shill. Anyway, let's have a quick run through the highlights from the patch notes. Ready? Watkins Glen, including 4 layouts. Group 2, Volkswagen Scirocco. GT2, Audi R8 LMS. GT3, Audi R8 LMS Evo. GT4, Audi R8 LMS. The all-electric Volkswagen ID.R prototype. Adjustable engine maps, throttle maps, and braking settings. Rolling starts for multiplayer races. The ability to jump the start as well. Manual cooldown laps once the checkered flag is out. And a further rollout of the new UI. That's quite a lot of new stuff. Although admittedly not quite as much as last year. I'm not even going to try and do a full breakdown of everything in this video, otherwise it'd be several hours long and
ain't nobody got time for that.
For now though, let's take a brief look at what we're dealing with, starting with a brand new circuit. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I knew I forgot something off that list. It's here! It's actually here! After years of speculation, Brands Hatch Grand Prix is now officially part of RaceRoom Racing Experience. Instead of turning right at the end of the Cooper Straight, you can now turn left and enjoy the full layout of arguably one of the best circuits in the UK. This isn't a trick, there's no invisible wall, the Grand Prix circuit is really there in all its glory. Finally. We're going to have to find a new meme, guys. If you want a closer look at how it drives, then check out this video, link on top of the screen, where I run a quick 10-minute race against the AI in the Formula 3 car. But moving on from one circuit to another, and we have Watkins Glen, one of the most iconic American racetracks out there. You've probably seen it before in iRacing, Project Cars, and various mods across R-Factor 2 and Assetto Corsa, but now it's in RaceRoom. This is a properly old school style track, and although overtaking isn't super easy, it often provides some awesome racing thanks to the long straights and banked corners. There are 4 versions available, the full layout and the shorter layout without the boot, and then each of those layouts also has 2 further configurations either with or without the chicane at the end of the back straight. I also just recorded a 10-minute race against the AI here as well, in the new Audi GT2 car no less. Another link up here somewhere for you to click, so check that out if you want to see Watkins Glen in action. I imagine this place is going to be a hit amongst the community, especially on the ranked servers with your usual GT3 and WTCR battle packs. Speaking of front-wheel drive cars, we now also see the introduction of Group 2 to RaceRoom, in the shape of the Volkswagen Scirocco. With a 4-cylinder engine putting out only 170 horsepower and a top speed of 200 kilometers an hour, this thing isn't going to break any land speed records, but the racing is going to be amazing. There's something about slower cars which is just fun. And so far RaceRoom only really has the NSU filling this spot. Not that there's anything wrong with the NSU, Tobias, but I have a feeling that Scirocco is going to quickly become a cult classic amongst the community, especially around the tighter and twistier circuits. I also just recorded a 10-minute race at Falkenberg in this car. You should know where that link is by now, surely. So go and check that out if Group 2 is more your thing. Moving on from Group 2 to GT2, and that class is getting a much needed facelift in the form of the Audi R8 LMS. Previously, GT2 in RaceRoom was just a 1-car series with the lonely Porsche 911 RS Club Sport, but now there's some company to mix things up and diversify the category, which most people probably didn't even realize was there in the first place. The aim of GT2 is to provide a bigger and better experience for the gentleman GT driver, as opposed to the professional racer, and it does that by reducing the aero and increasing the power. It's more of a seat-of-the-pants driving experience which requires a lot of skill but definitely puts a massive smile on your face. And while we're on the topic of GT cars, the already massive GT3 class in RaceRoom is expanding even further to bring it more in line with the modern spec of cars by including the Audi R8 LMS Evo. There's not much to be said here really. This is GT3. You kind of already know exactly what you're going to be getting. But if that wasn't enough Audi for you, then guess what? The GT4 class now also features the Audi R8 LMS as well. That's right, this update features new Audis in GT2, GT3 and GT4, so if you're not a fan of the German manufacturer, then it's looking pretty bleak for you this December. To be fair, this is a much needed addition to the GT4 class in RaceRoom, which kind of fell behind the competition, get it, recently with the massive GT4 pack that was released for ACC early this year. In my opinion, as far as level of detail is concerned, nothing really comes close to Assetto Corsa Competizione in terms of GT3 or GT4. But that's where RaceRoom shines. It has a much bigger selection of circuits available, so having the Audi bump up the GT4 roster a little in RaceRoom and add some diversity to the class is a nice touch. GT4s always race well. One more car that you'll also be able to get your hands on now is the Volkswagen ID.R, an all-electric prototype which you may have previously been able to drive in RaceRoom in the one-off special time trials at the Nordschleife last year. A few redeem codes were also circulated by the devs for the few lucky amongst the community, but now this epic car is available to everybody. With no engine and no fuel, the ID.R relies on its prototype battery and motor system to deliver the equivalent of nearly 670 horsepower through its four-wheel drive system. It's a blast to drive, even if it does take a little while to get used to with no engine sounds or gears for your usual reference points out on track. Now, it's worth pointing out that this new content I've just mentioned is not free. This isn't something that's automatically going to get added to your library the next time you fire up RaceRoom. Now, you can try all of the new cars for free through the store. Not circuits though, just to clarify. But if you want to experience this new content, then you are going to have to purchase it. What you will get for free though, is what I'm going to run through next in the video, and this is the interesting stuff because it's kind of going to change the way you go racing in RaceRoom from now on. Adjustable fuel mixtures, throttle maps, and engine modes. Now, it sounds like an obvious thing to mention if you're familiar with any of the other sims out there, but this is something that's coming to RaceRoom for the first time. It was initially trialled recently with the Cupra e-Racer electric car in the form of an in-car adjustable battery regeneration mode. But now that the concept has been proven, it's being rolled out to other types of engine configurations throughout the sim. Now, instead of just planting the throttle and burning through the fuel at a fixed rate like before, you can choose which mode you want to run your engine in, and that affects things like your throttle responsiveness and fuel usage. Obviously, higher modes have a more aggressive throttle response, higher boost pressures if your car has a turbo, and will burn through more fuel, which will give you more speed, but also reduces the range of your fuel tank, and also perhaps can shorten the life of your engine over longer races, which is something that's becoming rather popular now that RaceRoom is hosting weekly enduros well over 60 minutes that facilitate the need for pit stops, and now, of course, fuel management. This is going to be awesome for car classes such as GTE and Group C, which were designed to be raced over longer distances and with fuel economy in mind. It's going to add an extra layer of strategy and opens up the possibility for more mid-race management. Also, the ability to crank up the power and go absolutely flat out for that one-off mega lap is just going to add that extra level of excitement come the qualifying session. Now, once qualifying is over and the dust has settled, things are going to look a little bit different at the start of the race too. Multiplayer now features rolling starts. It's been a long-term optional feature of the single-player mode when racing against the AI, but to have it in multiplayer instead of just the mandatory standing starts we've had so far has been long overdue and means we should never see anything like this again.
Let's try and take this one easy, eh? If you don't pull stupid moves and you don't win it, you don't make a position up every corner.
All right, here we go.
Get ready. Go, go, go.
Oh,
On your what?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, they all do that little
Gotta watch it.
kick to the left.
Kicks out sideways.
Speaking of starts, you can now jump the start in RaceRoom. Previously, you could just plant the throttle and as soon as the lights went out, the car would start moving. But now, you're actually going to have to use your clutch and your brakes and your accelerator all in conjunction and react to those start lights. Get it right, and you can make up several places off the start, but get it wrong, and you're going to see a hefty penalty coming your way, either in the form of lost time or a penalty from the race stewards for jumping the start. Also, say hello to manual cooldown laps. No more will you be crossing the line and immediately relinquishing control of your car with the results coming up on the screen. By enabling this option in the gameplay settings in the menu, now, when you cross the line, you can cruise around, give your fellow competitors a virtual thumbs up or a middle finger, depending on how well the race went, and proceed to do donuts at the nearest runoff area, before bringing the car back to the pits. Or you could just press escape and teleport back to the garage instead if you can't be bothered driving around. Moving towards the end of the list of the new features in this RaceRoom December update, and we come to probably one of the lesser exciting features, but one of the most noticeable: the further rollout of the new UI. Now, it's worth noting that this is currently an opt-in feature, meaning it's not going to be enabled by default, so you're going to have to go into the Steam launch parameters and type in -web menu to enable it, like so. We've previously seen the car's setup screen get a makeover with the ever-popular dark mode scheme, but now that extends further into the rest of the menu system too, bringing nearly everything in line with a much more consistent and modern look. All of the settings and options are still there, but just maybe in a slightly different but more intuitive place, and this will eventually be rolled out to the remaining menus in due time. Now, there might be a few more minor changes here and there throughout RaceRoom, which I may have missed in this video at the time of recording this video, so just in case, I've put a link in the video description to the patch notes, so go and check that out just to get the full lowdown. Also, I have it on good authority from the devs that there were a few of the features and things that were planned for this update that just either weren't ready on time or didn't pass testing, so they weren't included. But keep an eye on this for the future, guys. Some very exciting things are going to be happening in RaceRoom very soon, so stay tuned. So with all of that covered then, I hope this video gives you a bit more of an idea of what to expect. There may be plenty of new content to enjoy, but the existing content also keeps on getting improved, and to be honest, this is one of the biggest things that puts RaceRoom right at the top of my list of favourite sims. Sector 3 aren't the biggest sim racing developer out there, nor do they have the deepest pockets, but they consistently keep on coming back and improving upon the foundation they've been building on for a few years now. This update isn't just a new livery pack or a rebalance of the car performance, even though it does include those. This is an update which fundamentally enhances the experience that everybody has, whether they purchase the new cars and tracks or not. It'd be easy for Sector 3 to sit back and stop working on a game engine which frankly is quite some way behind what all of the other leading sims are using right now. But they don't. Despite still running on DirectX 9 and with one hand tied behind its back, RaceRoom just keeps on getting better. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave it a like. That really does actually help me out, you know. And share your thoughts about this new update in the comments. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to chat. Actually, perhaps a better place to just chat would be on my Discord, link in the description, where you can hang out with myself and all of the other members of the DDF Racer YouTube community. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, because over the course of the next few weeks and months, I'm going to be taking a much closer look at all of these new features in RaceRoom and all of these soon to be released features in RaceRoom across my various videos and live streams. Look after yourselves, guys, and I'll see you soon.